If your emotional abilities aren't in hand, if you don't have self-awareness, if you are not able to manage your distressing emotions, you can't have empathy and have effective relationships, then no matter how smart you are not going to get very far.
I'm genuinely excited to be doing this. And although I don't think I'm maybe the wisest person, actually, lately I've become more aware of how genuinely naive I am. I am totally willing to share with you some of my thoughts, and I encourage you to receive them as you see fit. Oh my god, you already cried. She looking back like on her. Whether that is completely disregarding everything I say in the next couple of minutes, or trying to live it letter by letter, which is not recommended, because like I said, I'm 18 and pretty naive. But that is up to you. Actually, let me expand on this concept of me being naive. So, according to my BFF Google, naive can be defined as showing a lack of experience, wisdom, or judgment. So here begins the obligatory anecdote of my younger self behaving as such. Middle school was a rough time for me, as it is for many, because it's literally the worst period of time for any adolescent human, due to the fact that everything and everyone is very uncomfortable. I hung out with a group of people with whom I felt I didn't fit in with. They were your stereotypical mean girls who modeled their lives after shows like Gossip Girl and 90210. They wore pearl earrings on Wednesdays and shamed each other for days when their looks wasn't the best. They attempted their best to live a life of the bourgeoisie with their designer handbags and clothing. They aspired to Eurocentric standards of beauty, each of my friends facing through a myriad of eating disorders and beauty alterations, often perpetuated by each other. You might be wondering why I say they instead of we, and it's because I really didn't play into these standards. I wore pretty much the same outfit every day. I got to tag along because I thought I was pretty, and I knew that. And I didn't play into these standards not because I was level-headed. It was middle school, that was quite the opposite. And it's not because I was raised better either. In reality, I could not afford to. I had never felt the weight of my family's financial situation before then, and I have never felt it the same way since. I thought I was below them. We cast judgment upon almost the entire student body, generally based on materialistic values. And we thought we were above most of our peers. As we aged through middle school, the means by which someone was cool changed. The alternative lifestyle was now what we aspired to, and this was a lifestyle I could align myself with. However, by this time, my self-confidence was so shot I had become aggressively introverted, and also this alternative lifestyle was just another form of elitism through exclusivity. Instead of trying to put ourselves above or apart from others with the ownership of things too expensive for the general population, we did so through the listening of niche bands, buying handmade jewelry from flea markets, and thrift shopping. We then judge people for being basic, or enjoying anything remotely mainstream, or basically just liking something that anybody else liked. By the time I got to my freshman year, my head was pretty big, and my mindset was so shifted towards exclusively enjoying the obscure that I pretty much didn't like anything. Like, I really didn't like anything. And along with that, I didn't really like anyone either. I remember that my first day of Algebra 2, we got our C assignments, and my table was all sophomores except for myself. So I also automatically assumed I was smarter than them as well. That day, I was trying my best to exclude myself from the conversation occurring between my table mates, when one of them at one point asked me if I was going to go to the first football game of the season, which I replied with the cool, no, it's not really my scene. And this person then asked if I would basically go to any other school sanctioned event throughout the year, and I responded again with like, no, probably not. Through further conversation, I thought I made it pretty clear that I didn't plan on doing anything except showing up to class, which you guys know I don't do that well. They didn't know that. Then another one of my table mates asked me how I expected to make friends if I didn't involve myself in any activities. And my answer, and I'm actually pretty embarrassed with this, word for word was, I'm not really interested in making friends. If it was a thought, I was like a real, stop it. But I knew that they thought I was a nice person. Like, I knew that they knew that, and I didn't care. I truly thought I was above most of that school. And I was truly bitter. I didn't care what people thought of me, which isn't particularly a bad trait, but what came along with that was that I didn't care how I made people feel. By saying something like, I'm not really interested in making friends, I basically dismissed everyone at that table as someone I would like or hang out with. And although I'm sure none of them were truly offended by the dismissal of a bitchy day one freshman, I wouldn't have cared if they were. That would have been a them problem. I talked to people how I wanted to, I talked about people how I wanted to, and I did not fear the consequences. However, I was no stranger to meanness either. Like I said, I really did fit in with my friends not too long prior. I'll spare my friends the true character descriptions they deserve and just say they weren't nice. I was excluded from many of the activities, even when we picked up our hipster ways. My friends didn't appreciate my introverted ways, so I was pretty much labeled as no fun and cast aside accordingly, despite my cute clothes. Ironically, I ended up being in student government, and like at most big schools, it was a fast track to popularity. I was required to be at pretty much all school-sanctioned events, and ended up knowing quite a few students. I was one of the few freshmen invited to most parties, and was welcome at all the ones that I accidentally was not invited to. And I noticed, but I still wasn't particularly social either. I noticed that my friends began to hang around me more. I was more likely to get a call from them on the weekends instead of just seeing them at school. And I got them into all the fun, exclusive activities high school had to offer. So in short, I had become valuable to them. My feelings certainly mattered, and I was suddenly valid. And this is mainly what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the idea that we treat people according to how much value we perceive they possess to our lives, whether that's socially, financially, academically, emotionally, or another way. I feel as many people tend to assign values to others, and then we treat them as we see appropriate based on that value. Similarly, we tend to try to make ourselves more valuable to those around us by increasing intellect, or maybe obtaining social/financial status. We place ourselves on ladders where we try to transcend the person above us and keep people below us just to maintain status. And a lucky few, maybe friends or coworkers, are allowed to climb beside us. We try to place others in our world with respect to where we think we stand in it. Someone can be above, below, or beside you, instead of just being. In current days, when we hear about the shooting of young black people, then the titles will either read something like, "Dropout with prior conviction shot by police," or, in contrast, "Honor roll student shot by police." And those are all attempts to try to place a value on the lives of those in question. This was the source of my previous naivety. Through most of my life, I've tried to assign myself value through very stringent categories, and I've assigned value to those around me similarly. I've been cast aside and looked down upon, and I've also casted people aside and looked down upon them. I'm speaking to you and to myself when I say, stop trying to place a value on people. We do not have the jurisdiction to do so. Stop trying to measure your success relative to another being, and stop judging someone else's success relative to your own. Stop putting value on another's success and carefully assign value to your own. Understand that one's success is not their value. However, you may start treating every human as such, a human. And I'm personally telling you that you have no other option. I urge you to empathize with those around you. Be happy for someone else's happiness and sad for their sadness. I'm not asking you to be fake and pretend to be happy for someone. I'm saying that I personally believe that you should be genuinely happy for someone when they are doing well, and you should feel sad when they are not. There is an exception, but not much, and apply it as you see fit. Do not try to place value on another person and hope that they do not try to place value on you. Instead of having one ladder with people above, below, or beside you, imagine everyone has their own ladder, maybe of a different height, or maybe different amount of space between the rungs. Maybe your ladder is on uneven ground, or maybe someone else's was on a hill. And you can only see your own. You don't know what anybody else's ladder is like. You cannot compare your descension or ascension or stagnation to that of another because your ladders are completely different. But you do know how it feels when you descend or ascend. And it may not be exactly the same as another's, but you can either choose to try to relate to their movement in order to help them, or understand that you will never understand how they feel and offer your support. I currently don't know which one is better, but I know that neither involves scrutinizing the movement of another. If you feel this does not apply to you, feel free to disregard everything I've just said, especially the part where I talk about middle school, because those are like really embarrassing days. However, chances are you can relate to at least some part of what I'm saying, And I'm not perfect. I've not completely mastered the art of treating people correctly. So, if I've ever tried to equate you, I'm sorry. If I've ever tried to categorize you and place a value on you in my life, I'm sorry. And if I've ever treated you as less than or more than, I am deeply sorry. If you ever start worrying about your value, stop. You have none. You have all that you could possibly imagine. In conclusion, my naivety has obviously not ended, but I still have a lot of time to grow into new sources of it. Thank you for letting me grow through this source while at AUP.